Hi guys, welcome to the Electric Life Switch Module 4. We are going to let more people come into the room as we did yesterday. I just wanted to say welcome and you are here. So let's give a little bit more time for everyone to come in the room. And if you can hear me, go ahead and put a 1 in the question box so I know that you guys can hear me tonight. Excellent. Thank you, Shaquita. Thank you, Faye. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Latia. Thank you, Leah. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Makita. Thank you, Carla. And thank you, Misha. And thank you guys for being patient, and we'll start in a few minutes. Thanks.
We're good.
Okay. Go ahead and pause yourself.
You said pause.
Get mute. If you want to just hit the microphone again. Hi guys, so we are back and we are rolling. Again, tonight we are discussing Module 4 of the Electric Life Switch. Uh, as you know, just a little house cleaning, or housekeeping, excuse me. Um, if you have any questions, we're going to go ahead and drop your questions into the question box. And we will do just like we did last night. And for those who weren't here last night, we'll allow Chef Aki to talk a little while. And then, um, and then we'll stop for questions, a few questions, and then we'll have the rest of our questions at the end of the night. I really want to know where you guys are from today. So let me know what city you're from in the questions box. Kind of give us a rundown of where you're coming from tonight. Atlanta. Shaquita's from Atlanta. Oh, we got Brooklyn in the house, St. Louis, Pittsburgh, Chicago, Los Angeles, Nashville, Charlotte. Hey, Jane, welcome back from Virginia. Detroit. Oh, Sarasota, Florida. Nice, nice. You're able to check in. I'm glad. I hope you had your rebuild, getting everything together. Charlotte, Richmond. Yes, Alicia from Brooklyn. Guys, it is great to see you. And I'm not going to hold you up anymore. Let's go ahead and get Chef Aki on the line, and she can start us off. Just 1 minute. Excellent. Chef, make sure you unmute yourself because I don't hear you saying anything.
Hey, tribe. Good evening. I'm going to turn on my webcam.
Excellent. So
hopefully we can get on through this. Let's see here.
It looks like you turned it off.
Uh-oh. Share my webcam.
There you go. Everyone, go ahead and say hi to Chef Aki.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, April says hi, Chef. April says she sees you. Karma says hello. Makita says, hey, Chef. Yay, we see you, Chef. Latia says, hey, Chef. Angela says. So, Chef, we can all see you. We'll go ahead and let you get started.
All right. So, welcome back, students. I hope that you guys had a wonderful day and that you've been having an incredible week. It's almost over. And I hope that you were able to make it to class last night and that you learned something. And I hope you guys, once again, have your pen and pad tonight. But tonight, it won't be so, we won't get too technical because tonight is all about food. We're talking about what the hell you can eat. And we're not just going to talk about it. I've got all my food laid out right here. I literally went upstairs and took all my food and laid it all out here in my studio kitchen. So we are going to get into a conversation about food, and I want you guys to actually see these foods because I want you to know what you are purchasing when you get into the store, right? Okay, so, and then we'll go over some things about how to approach food as well. Let me see if I can catch my slides here. Can I catch my slides here? So I know a lot of you who are here have maybe been trying to eat better. You feel like maybe you've been doing okay. You've certainly been trying, but you need that extra push, you need that extra motivation, and maybe you just need more information so that you really can make this thing make sense. And oftentimes, no matter what we know or understand about what we should and should not eat, oftentimes it really does come down to how amazing that food looks and tastes. and how accessible it is at the end of the day. Am I right? Okay. So I know that, you know, taste, texture, flavor, and accessibility at the end of the day, convenience is king, right? So I've got some beautiful foods, and I'm going to kind of separate them into groups for you guys today for this fourth module of what the hell can I eat. Now, you guys have your food lists, and we have made several changes to that list in the last couple years. And I don't want to say several, to be realistic. We've maybe about 4 items, okay? And last night we had some comments and people say, oh gosh, you know, the list changing, and you know, what's electric or not electric, or healthy or not healthy. To be fair, out of the, you know, 80 or so items that we're looking at here, and maybe more, realistically, we've maybe made 4 changes. All right. And even in that, when it comes to the conversation of adding or removing hybrids or non-hybrids, oftentimes it has to do with accessibility. Last night we talked about the wild almond, and that a wild almond does exist, but we just do not have access to it. Very similar to the wild pineapple or even the wild yam. Okay, so there are foods that would have been naturally produced in nature, but we just do not have access to some of these foods. Broccoli is not one of them, okay? There is no such thing as a wild broccoli, although if eaten steamed, there is a little bit of nutrition that you can gain from it, but very, very little, and it is considered a hybrid. As a matter of fact, because somebody was asking this question, I wanted to go ahead and answer it. There's actually a book by the author William Oram, O-R-E-M, and he talks about wild foods. There's William Oram. Check out, actually it's an article called The First Broccoli. The First Broccoli. And it talks about broccoli being a hybrid of wild kale. Okay, so I know somebody asked something about broccoli, and that is being removed. So in places where you may see broccoli, we'll be using like dinosaur kale, or we'll be using like the bok choy or chayote or something like that. But without further ado, we'll be kind of going down this list here. The list that you have doesn't go into substitutes, which we're going to see if we can pull up a slide here for substitutes, but I want to make sure that you can start substituting foods with the proper foods. So if you've got a pen and pad, that's great. If we can pull up a slide, we'll see if Charlene can pull up a slide for us. And firstly, let me just say thank you, not just to all of you amazing students for showing up for yourself and investing in yourself in this class, but thank you to the amazing Fresh Tribe team, okay, AJ Joyner and staff. I'm so happy to be working on my virtual classes with you guys. You guys have been amazing in keeping this whole thing together. So as we go into this class, hey sis, I'm doing a virtual class. I'm gonna call you back, okay? Hey sister. Hey sister, can you hear me? Okay, that wasn't working. All right, sorry y'all, my ringer wasn't off. All right, so we'll see if Charlene can pull that up. But in the meantime, we'll go through these substitutes so that you guys will know how to replace certain things. So for example, rice. Rice is a big one. Vegans and non-vegans get caught up in eating a lot of rice, and we want to get rid of rice. So of course we can replace that with wild rice. We can also replace that with your quinoa, and we showed you the red, black, and yellow quinoa. All right, so you should always have some quinoa or wild rice, preferably already cooked and sitting in your fridge, because you'll be able to take that wild rice and add it into some of your superfood patties. You'll be able to add that wild rice into your stews and soups. You know, you'll be able to make a nice pilaf. You know, there's so many things you can do. Your quinoa, preferably red and black quinoa. You're going to get the most nutrition out of your red and black quinoa. I know everybody eats quinoa these days, but if you haven't got with the program, this grain is like any other grain. It's a 3-to-1 recipe. 3 cups of water to 1 cup of grain. Okay, so that is your replacement for rice, quinoa. You can also well, that's more of a grit replacement. Let's go further. So your breakfast grits, your breakfast wheat, what do they call it, cream of wheat, your breakfast oatmeal. This is a big, big deal because most vegans say, well, what can I have for breakfast? All right, so you can have breakfast and you can enjoy hot cereals. A great substitute for that is going to be something like spelt flakes. And I've actually got some here. These are your spelt flakes. You can find these just about any health food store, but you can also find this at EdenFoods.com, EDEN, EdenFoods.com. You can also find it at VitaCost.com, and they have great deals all the time. Spelt flakes. This particular brand also makes Kamut flakes, K-A-M-U-T, Kamut flakes. They also make rye flakes, R-Y-E, rye flakes. So you've got options, and they taste and cook up just like oatmeal. Just like oatmeal. So you can have breakfast all fall and winter long. If you want a nice hot cereal, you can take your rye, spelt, or kamut flakes, okay, and you can warm those up, 3-to-1 recipe. Add your coconut oil or your, a little bit of your manuka honey or agave, your coconut or date sugar. All right, and we'll get into sweetener substitutes in a moment. And add your fruit, add your dried fruit, whatever. You can do your nuts, allspice, flavor it up just like you would oatmeal. Add your coconut butter, your allspice, put your hemp seeds in there. Delicious. So you have options: rye, spelt, and kamut flakes. All right. So moving on from there, some of you have already tried the amaranth, which is similar to like a grits. This is more like a oatmeal. And you can even use this to make granola or oatmeal cookies. We got options, y'all. So if you're doing grits in the morning, or you like cream of wheat, try amaranth. A-M-A-R-A-N-T-H. It's right here on your list. Your amaranth cooks up really nicely. It takes a little more time. It's not as quick as these. It's still a 3-to-1 recipe, but you want to cover it up. It can get messy. You want to watch it, keep it in a nice container where you can just pour it directly into your pot of water. Boil your water, simmer it, put the lid, turn it down after you add the contents, and then close it up and let it cook down for about 10 minutes. Okay, maybe 10 minutes until it gets nice and creamy, and you'll have like a cream of wheat. Another electric cream of wheat or grit substitute is called Fonio. I ran out of it because we love it here, so I don't have it to show you today, but you can find it online. A lot of these things you have to buy online. You can literally just Google Fonio, and you can find a seller. F-O-N-I-O. Amazing grain. It's a seed. I really shouldn't call it a grain. All right? And it cooks up just like a cream of wheat or grit. F-O-N-I-O. All right. So I know a lot of you want your cereals in the morning. My son loves these. I know you guys have probably seen these. There's only one ingredient, and that is kamut. So this is your puffed kamut flake. If you can't find it at your local health food store, you can find it online. Puffed kamut, throw you some hemp milk or coconut milk in there, and it's good to go. You can add your currants or berries or whatever you like and sweeten it up. It's really inexpensive. And if your kids are cereal lovers or your toddler, this is a great way to get them off the crappy hybrid cereals. All right, so that's that. Kamut Flakes. And I actually, for the first time, I've been watching these cereal companies and how I know y'all been seeing they've been adding amaranth and quinoa and spelt and teff and all this. But when you look further at the ingredients, you're going to see corn. You're going to see rice, brown rice, white rice. You're going to see wheat and this and all this crap, right? So I've been looking very closely at these cereals. And I finally found a company that makes just spelt flakes. And I've got a box of that upstairs. Maybe I can have my husband bring it down. But it's just maybe one ingredient, and it's just spelt flakes. It's wonderful. And it's just like a corn flake. So if you're a cereal person, there is something for you as well. That's a flake. All right. All right. So we're getting through breakfast. Let's see. Substitutes. All right. So you've got our grains. So let's get into some of our starches. This is a big one because we love our potatoes, right? Of course, butternut squash is a wonderful substitute. You can also do acorn squash. Now, don't be intimidated by these squashes, you guys, okay? I know a lot of people can get intimidated by these squash. Don't get intimidated. As long as it heats up long enough, it's going to be delectable. So don't get intimidated. You want to just, I love to have like I think we talked about tools. I love to have just a nice little countertop oven, like a little small countertop oven you can just pop open, grease up that butternut squash or that acorn squash, slice it down the middle, pull the seeds out, grease it up, and just slide it right into that little conventional baby oven and get it nice and soft, you know, maybe 25 minutes. And it's something I do no matter what. I do it in the morning. I just like to always have some completed that I can, you know, warm back up or add to any dish just to have it out of the way. Okay, so we talk about the electric lifestyle switch. This is a part of those changes of how we get it done. You can no longer approach your meal and say, okay, well, tonight, boom, I'm just going to go ahead and cook something. Yes, you can do that. But if you want this you know, amazing variety that you may be used to, then it may take a little bit more. So if you know tonight I'm going to want some nice, you know, sweet, you know, like a sweet potato souffle or, you know, mashed sweet potatoes, you could do that with your butternut squash. If you know in the morning you're going to want a nice roasted, you know, purple potato and butternut squash medley with peppers and onions and all that, then you may want to do some pre-chopping the night before, have it bagged up. And that way you can just toss it up with a little coconut oil, throw it in your little conventional oven, and now you have breakfast. So, you know, the lifestyle switch really means just that, all right? So, let me see if I've got, So I think I left, oh, there it is. Yeah, I sliced my butternut squash up today. So here's my butternut squash. I'm sure you guys are familiar with this baby here. So all the seeds, of course, are in here. And so oftentimes if I'm making something really quick, I'll just chop a few discs off and just slice that skin off and throw it in the oven or skillet really quick with some coconut oil for my child, or blend it up in a nice, you know, breakfast dish with coconut flesh or something for my son. But when you slice this baby open, spoon those seeds out, grease it up, and it's ready to go. All right, so that's that. Another wonderful substitute for potatoes and starches is this beautiful baby here, and that is the chayote. Chayote or chocho. It's also called Mexican squash, chocho. Some of you are very familiar with this. It's also called a cherimoya. Okay, and it's a wonderful substitute for potatoes and starches and things like that. And when I tell you, it just takes on the flavor of whatever you're cooking, and the texture is beautiful. Do not cheat yourself on this, baby. I keep probably maybe 10 of these. I keep 10 of these on hand because it's filling in a way that's not heavy, digests very well. Oh, it's a beautiful, really beautiful vegetable. And I mean, you don't have to even take the skin off of it because that's how soft it is when you cook it and it cooks down into everything. You don't even have to remove the skin, but it's really nice when you do. So you can go ahead and just, you know, peel it like a potato. Peel it like, add this, you know, dice it up into things just like you would a potato. You know, you can also just, you know, slice, pull the seed out really quickly, grease it up, bake it. It's just a beautiful, it takes on the flavor of everything. It's not sweet. It's not creamy. It's not too hard. It just really takes on a nice texture. I can't even think of what it would be similar to, but it's just a wonderful texture. Add it to soups and stews, preferably soups and stews, and stir fries, any type of saute. You can use this to replace potatoes. It's just a wonderful filler. It's just not too filling. I can't say enough about chayote. Don't cheat yourself. This is probably one of the 3 items that I use, whether it says organic or not, because typically they're coming from South America, and oftentimes they're just not going to have that label. So I eat chayote no matter what. All right. So, and going further, of course, we've got our always reliable zucchini and squash. What this is called crook neck squash and zucchini. These are on the electric list and will forever be used for everything. And that's probably the closest in texture because they are in the squash family. So these are very close in texture. This is a little bit more firm, but not too firm. All right. Zucchini and squash in everything. Zucchini and squash noodles, zucchini and squash layered as lasagna, zucchini and squash wrapped into chickpea flour as nice veggie patties. You could just go on and on. All right, so potato substitutes, we're done with that. Okay, so on into our onions, chives, garlic, scallions, shallots. Let's get into that conversation. All right, so we've got, I think my green onion might be upstairs, but I've got my chives here, my red onion here, and also scallions, the chopped green onions. I just chopped some for dinner tonight, so I think that is still upstairs. All right, but you can do your green onion, you can do red onion, and you can do chives. White onion are a no-no on the electric diet. Get away from the white and yellow onion. Is it going to kill you? No. Are these much more healthier choices? Yes. This for me is a substitute for garlic. And if you smell it, you'll know why. When you start chopping it up, you'll understand. Really strong, beautiful flavor. Chives added to just about anything that you really want that flavor to come through. You want to flavor that food, throw some chives in it, throw some red onion in it. Wonderful for the blood, wonderful for the brain, for the nervous system. Amazing. I call white onions the shell of an onion or the death of an onion. All right, this is a real onion. Okay, and then of course the green onions, or not shallot, I'm sorry, scallion. The small red shallot I do use occasionally, and we don't have any of those here at the moment. But I can't leave out my peppers. You guys always hear me talk about these little sweet peppers. I can usually find these in a bag, and I know you guys have seen these little sweet peppers in just a nice little bag. They're all, you know, red, yellow, and orange. And you can literally toss these in everything. I keep about 2 bags of these in the fridge at all times. Why? Because this is flavoring my pot. Okay, we talk about veganism and flavor. So this is what's going to give you your flavors. All right, I'm giving y'all the goods here. Okay, so when you're preparing your pot, your stir fry, your stew, your whatever it is, you want to have your base flavors ready to really season that dish even before you start adding spices and all that. This is your flavor, okay? So your sweet peppers are very, very important. I like to usually take a few of these, chop the tops off, throw them in my food processor, give it a pulse, and now I've got a nice cup or two of chopped peppers that I can throw into my coconut oil and get my pot seasoned and ready for more flavors and broths before I start a dish. Okay, very, very important. I also love these because they're so small and compact that you could just slice this baby right open, lay it out, right, and fill it with hummus, and now you got a snack. Lay it out on a pretty tray, sprinkle some chives on it. You know what I'm saying? Sprinkle some hemp seeds on it. There's just so many options. Throw some avocado guacamole in those. You know, you can have some little pepper boats, and they're crunchy and sweet and beautiful. I'll have a bag of these in the car. This is my to-go food. I've got this. I've got my hummus, and I'm just in there throwing down, throwing down. So I've got that going. I may have some chopped cucumber and zucchini, and these cucumber, zucchini, some nuts, some hummus. I'm munching. I'm some salsa, some guacamole. I'm good to go. I've got snacks on hand. All right, raw snacks on hand. All right.
So, Chef, I'm going to jump in a little bit because we have a lot of questions coming through in the question box. And I want to get...
I'm making everyone hungry here. Yes.
Yes, you are. I know I'm getting hungry. So let me go ahead and let you start answering a few questions. So right. I'm going to start with, and guys, I'm going to unmute your mic like last night. So we're going to start off with Jane, Jane Towns.
Hey, Jane, how can I help you?
Just a minute. Let me unmute her. Okay, there you go, Jane. Go ahead.
Hello. Hi, Chef.
Hey, Jane.
My question is, I was diagnosed with diabetes, and I want to know if this lifestyle will reverse this, or will I need to go on some type of medication? I'm not on anything right now.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. That's a good question. In fact, Jane, diabetes has never been cured through medication ever. Okay. There's no known case of that. Okay. The facts are that diabetes is the only cure for diabetes is food and the absence of a toxic lifestyle. That's the only cure. So my suggestion to you is if you're looking to reverse it, there's no way around it. You have to do it through detoxifying your body and eating right. And this diet is the only known diet to assist in curing any disease. Electric foods have cured everything from diabetes, lupus, sickle cell, herpes, AIDS, you name it. So what that really, all that means, Jane, is that your body is going to heal itself. We just have to kind of get out of the way. You know, the body is made to automatically heal itself. We just have to take the toxins out so that it can now say, all right, I am free to do my job and nothing's in my way. And then we have to nourish it with lots of hydration, minerals, and electricity so that it can certainly do its job in the most powerful way possible. So I hope I'm answering your question, but the fact is there's nothing on this earth that can cure you other than, or reverse diabetes other than a plant-based diet.
Okay. Do you recommend distilled water?
I do, actually. But what I drink distilled water, I drink spring water. But what I recommend is that when you get your water home, go ahead and add chlorophyll drops to it in order to increase the mineral content, because naturally with distilled water the minerals have been stripped out of it. So unless we can get, you know, that natural earth water, that well water that my grandmother grew up on with all the good minerals in it. Unfortunately, you know, in order for us to get clean water, because the water is so compromised, getting distilled water is very clean, but you want to put the minerals back in it through something like your chlorophyll drops. So I would get you some organic chlorophyll drops and put that in there. Okay, there's one called Chloroxygen.
Spell that.
And that's CLOROXYGEN, Chloroxygen.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jane. Bless you in your journey. And thanks for being a student.
Okay. We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna go ahead and pick another question. Just a minute.
Lime, salt, honey. Okay.
All right. So I am going to unmute Mark Austin. So Mark, let's go ahead and get you unmuted. Just a minute. You can go ahead and ask Chef your question. Go ahead.
You all right, Chef?
Hey there. How are you, Mark?
All right. Just a few questions. I mean, you answered one about spelt. I heard you talk about coconut oil, but what's your viewpoint on avocado oil and grapeseed oil? And shoot, I can't even remember the rest of my questions.
I'll start there. No worries. I hope my child isn't too loud back here. This is his time right here.
Okay.
Okay. So with oil, I always say we're mostly water. So, you know, and we actually don't need oil in the way that we've been taught, you know, to approach every meal with oil. But there are some wonderful benefits from your avocado oils, the coconut oil in coconut meat, and things like that. The problem is usually that we extract the oils through an unnatural process, and once we pull those oils out, you know, and we heat those oils and all this different stuff, you know, that's why you see cold pressed and all this stuff in order to keep more minerals and not turn the oil rancid once it's heated and all, you know. The key is to get it in a dark bottle, preferably a glass bottle, organic, cold pressed. You know, then you'll be doing yourself, you know, the most good when approaching oil. I do suggest if you're going to do oil, grapeseed, hemp seed, avocado, and coconut.
Okay.
Those would be my 4 top suggestions, even before the olive oil. I would say those 4. And if you do get olive oil, just make sure you get a high quality of olive oil. And we kind of talk about this in my book where we've tested olive oils. There's a book called, I think, the olive oil conspiracy, where they show how the oil industry has been, you know, cutting the oil, like how they do in the streets. You know, they cut it and then they put stuff on it and, you know, mess it all up. Yeah. So I said the olive oil test is to put your oil in the refrigerator and see if the oil gets cloudy or not.
Okay.
And then if it gets cloudy, it's the real deal. And if not, you know, you can trash it. So that's just a test to see if your oil has been cut.
Okay. All right. I did remember my other questions.
Okay.
I think those answers. I wanted to know what your viewpoint was on agave, maple syrup, and coconut sugar.
Oh yeah, that's a good question. And we certainly, as we're going through substitutes, I think we're headed into the beans and then headed into sweeteners.
Okay.
So, but sweeteners, let me address this about agave first and honey. Naturally, veganism technically means no honey. Mm-hmm. Whereas I hate the term vegan. Really, I like plant-based because I eat honey, and so but Manuka honey is best. Manuka honey has so many benefits. It's actually been known to help with HPV and a lot of has a lot of antiviral, antifungal properties. So I actually suggest Manuka honey first and foremost. If you can get it in, I think it's a 25 strain, that would be ideal. It could be a little pricey, so finding it for a good deal online, like in bulk, could be helpful. Now, with agave, because I do eat agave. And I pulled off of agave for a while because of the excessive fructose and how, you know, that adds to belly fat and all kinds of other issues that I really didn't want. So what I have found is that all agave is not processed equally, especially because it's become so popular in the last 6 years. People have started messing with it big time, and processing it so much that they've really messed up the quality of that natural agave plant. So what I've been doing is purchasing something called volcanic agave.
Okay.
Volcanic agave. There's a great book that I've been reading that breaks down the agaves called Take Back Your Health by Jamal Munker. Jamal Munker, Take Back Your Health. And I mean, he goes deep into agave and wild foods. And that is where I learned to, I was in Bahamas, and they were saying, oh, get away from that, you know, United States agave, it's just awful. And I was already on that path. So it was just confirmed to me to do, if I'm going to do agave, I purchase online volcanic agave. Maple syrup and date sugars and coconut sugars, I've kind of gotten away from the maple syrup. What I've been doing, and I'll show you right here, since we're on this topic, this is a date syrup, organic date syrup. You can order it online, or you can find it in probably a local health food store. But really, really wonderful stuff. I love this. I've been using it really almost as a replacement for like blackstrap molasses, but also to sweeten certain dishes, especially if I'm making like a dark broth. Okay, sorry everybody. I don't know if Hurricane Irma had showed up. I think it's my child jumping around. But yes, so with syrup and coconut sugar, I suggest coconut sugar, date syrup, maple syrup. I would put it on the bottom of that list. Also very high in fructose. Any other sweeteners? Maybe date pastes. Oftentimes I'll use soaked date water or date paste as sweetener. And other than that, I think that's about it for sweeteners for me. I hope that answered your question.
All right, thanks, Chef, and thank you, Mark. Chef, we can go ahead and proceed. Thank you guys for your questions, and we'll go ahead and get rolling again.
Thank you, guys. All right, so we were going into beans and sweeteners. There are no beans on the electric food list. We kind of talked about this last night, with the exception of chickpeas or garbanzo beans. If anybody's unfamiliar with those, what those look like, let's see, I have some right here. And I know sometimes you may see chickpea, garbanzo bean is the same thing. And I know there's some confusion. Now, let me state this. Although this is the typical conventional chickpea or garbanzo bean, there is something called a wild or black chickpea or garbanzo bean. They're a little smaller. They're shaped exactly the same. They're a little smaller, and they are phenomenal. You need to soak them overnight, as with any bean or any legume, even with grains. And they are phenomenal. The Indians use them a lot. Ethiopians tend to use them also. And you can find them online as well if you can't find them in your local health food store. You typically can't find them unless you're in an international market. But if you can find them, they are much more mineral dense or nutrient dense. So if not, chickpea, it's all good. But if you can find a black or wild chickpea, that'd be great. They're more like a brown colored, like a reddish brown color. All right. So also you can do the black navy bean. Black navy bean, therefore black bean noodle, as you can see in some of your recipes. The same with your kamut and spelt noodle. This is again from Eden Organics. You can order these online if you can't find them in your local health food store. You can find these, I think, at Vitacost.com as well. Check the Thrive Market as well. Or if you're in Atlanta, the International Farmers Market is one of the only places I've been able to find these noodles. They come in spelt and in Kamut, as you can see here, spelt in Kamut. All right, and I use these in your Thai fruit salad that we just uploaded onto YouTube, so you guys got to check out how to make a Thai mango fruit salad with your spelt or Kamut noodles. Phenomenal. And that leads me to where we at. Yellow corn, of course. We don't do any corn, yellow corn ever. As we all probably know in this group, that corn, the big juicy corn that we all have grown to know and love, is a hybrid of the original corn, maize. And so there is a wild breed of corn that has some nutrients that you can gain from it, and that would be like your blue or black corn. Very, very rare. Some people call it pozole. It's made into pozole. But you can find your wild or Mexican corn as a blue or black corn chip or something like that. Every once in a while I may have a black or blue corn chip, but otherwise no corn. So we went over pasta. There are also pasta substitutes like the kelp noodles. And I know some people see those kelp noodles and they're thinking, oh my gosh, this is either too expensive or it's just weird. And let me tell you guys, kelp noodles can be a little awkward because they're kind of stretchy and crunchy at first. So if you're looking for a super soft noodle, opt for the udon or the spelt noodle. If you're looking to make a dish that is really fresh and raw and nice, almost like the zucchini noodles, then even the cucumber noodle is phenomenal. If you've got a nice little spiralizer or shredder, something that you can have some cucumber noodles are just beautiful. So you can do the cucumber noodle, zucchini noodle, kelp noodle. Just make sure when you do your kelp noodle, you want to soak it, clean it, and soak it for just maybe 5 minutes. You can do salt and lemon water to break it down, and it'll get nice and soft. Not as soft as a spaghetti noodle, but it will get a really nice texture, especially after you've combined it with a sauce. So oftentimes I'll just give it a quick submerge in warm water, kind of pull through it, may chop it a bit and pull it apart because they're really long, and then I'll blend my sauce, throw that sauce right on top, and once I mix that sauce up, sit it to the side, and it'll get nice. It'll break down and get it nice and like a soft kind of al dente texture that's really nice and refreshing, especially if it's a crunchy dish. All right, so don't be intimidated by the kelp noodles, and grow to really love and enjoy the even butternut squash can be made into a noodle. Okay, and you can really start to enjoy the sauces and things. Just playing with your sauces can be really fun. So that brings me to one of my favorite things to add in sauces in the tomato family. Of course, on the electric diet, we only do cherry or grape tomatoes. We don't. Also, we do Roma tomato. We can do some Roma tomato, but we do not do conventional tomato. And we also do my favorite, the tomatillo. All right, the tomatillo. I didn't grow up on tomatillos, and my family slept on these, unfortunately, but they are one of my favorite things. I'm actually going to roast these up tomorrow. I'm going to peel this open so you guys can see. Because when you get it home, you want to peel that open, and you just want to wash it. Wash it really good. It can be just a little sticky, just a bit. It's kind of like a little sappiness in here. It's kind of gritty, sticky. So, but you can roast these and blend it into a beautiful sauce. Oh my goodness. I'm going to make some coconut ceviche with my young coconut here. We've got a whole coconut here, and I'm going to use my Cocoa Jack and drink the water out and get a good spoon and get all that flesh out of the inside. Typically, I would use the inside of this for a smoothie. I would use it as pie filling or whipped cream. I would use it as like a yogurt topping of sorts. You know, you want a nice parfait. You can throw that in your Vitamix with just a little water, or you can use the coconut water that comes in it, and just a little sweetener, and have a nice yogurt, coconut yogurt parfait with cream. And but I love to use this to thicken up my smoothies as well. If I'm going to do like a nice good, thick smoothie. But I could go on and on. The coconut meat here is phenomenal. This is baby food for my son for the last 2 years. It's milk for him as a replacement for breast milk. Now, let me rewind that. Not a replacement, but it's an alternative. All right. But I'm going to open this up. Actually, use the flesh, chop it into small chunks, and cover it with some roasted tomatillo sauce and onions and peppers, and make a ceviche. Make a ceviche with lime and salt and tomatillo sauce. Oh my gosh. It's going to be amazing. All right. So as y'all can see, I get excited about food. I can do this all night. But this little baby also, if you don't have a Cocoa Jack, you can still use this. Don't get intimidated. I used to just get with a knife, like a nice good chef knife, and just hit it 1, 2, 3, 4 times and crack this thing open and just get that water out. You guys want that glowy skin, okay? You want to keep yourself nice and hydrated. This is what you want to be drinking. It's full of alkaline water. Matter of fact, they used to use this in Vietnam. They used this during the Vietnam War to replace blood plasma. Okay, that's how close it is to the it's the same chemical component as plasma. It's very similar to plasma in its chemical makeup. So really, really phenomenal. And you can actually you can really poke a knife right in the bottom. It's kind of soft at the bottom. You know how it has a soft spot, like a baby has a soft spot, and you can stick a straw right in there and just drink it. If you're just lazy, you don't want to bust it open. Okay, all right. So enough about coconut. So I want to talk about also going a little further into flavorings. Flavoring snacks and supplements is where we are right now. I'm going to pull out a couple things here. Are you guys still with me? I sure hope so. We kind of glazed over oil during the brother's question mark. So I just kind of wanted to show you some oils as well. This is a sesame seed oil, which I forgot to mention. I want to mention that for women who are pregnant or dealing with like stretch marks and things like that, sesame seed oil is wonderful. I would not suggest the roasted because, of course, it's going to smell really strong. But all through my pregnancy, I use sesame oil to prevent stretch marks. So breast, thighs, buttocks, belly, and I was, look, don't let me show y'all. No stretch marks, none. So hemp seed oil. This is certified organic raw, cold pressed, certified organic raw and cold pressed hemp seed oil. All right. So somebody asked a question yesterday about omega-3s, 6, and 9. And that's, you can find that right here in hemp seed oil and in hemp seeds. So to answer the question about omegas, hemp oil. All right. So that brings me to tahini paste. This is my little secret weapon. I love tahini paste next to maybe like tamarind, which I also love. This is my little secret weapon. One of them. I got several. But tahini is delicious. And let me be clear when I say that. It's horrible if you stick a spoon in it and eat it. It's awful. But it is amazing. Once you combine it with the right foods or the right combination, it can be beautiful. I love to make smoothies with this. Full of calcium and vitamin D, tahini. You've got, again, we talked about vegan babies and making sure that they're getting enough of what they need as they're growing. Really, really good to sneak some tahini in the breast milk or in their smoothies, in their sauces, in their sautés, whatever baby food you're blending up for them. It could be butternut squash with some tahini blended with it and some coconut meat. Okay, that's a breakfast for my child. That's a snack. All right, so tahini paste is beautiful. A date and tahini hemp seed, pumpkin seed smoothie is beautiful. Throw in some carrot powder for that chocolate flavor. Tahini chocolate, delicious. All right, I'm getting excited. I don't know about you guys. Tahini sauce mixed with some coconut flesh, like a coconut yogurt. And you can make a nice dressing, salad dressing with this, like a Greek goddess dressing, a lot of herbs, some lemon, sea salt, some chive, some tahini, a little bit of sweetener. Oh my God, amazing salad dressing or dip, okay? Tahini. Come on, y'all can do this. We got options. Y'all can do this. That brings me to sun-dried tomatoes. These are my organic sun-dried tomatoes in glass. Okay. I can't say enough about sun-dried tomatoes. You can make your own if you have a dehydrator, but having some sun-dried tomatoes on hand they're just handy. You can blend this and make a nice pad thai sauce. You can blend this to make a nice, dressing. You can, make a spaghetti sauce really quickly. That's raw and amazing. A nice marinara dip or pizza sauce, or just to add some zing and flavor to anything. And in your spelt burrito wraps, I could go on and on. All right. So that's sun-dried tomatoes. Can't say enough about them. This is one of my little secret weapons. I don't use it often because it's technically a ferment. I came out of the super tofu miso era, and so when I saw chickpea miso, I almost fell out. I was like, thank you, God, a soy-free miso. So if you're cooking a dish that calls for miso, which for me literally is, a few times a year, unless I'm cooking for a client, I will use some chickpea miso. It is a strong, beautiful flavor. A strong, beautiful flavor that you can add to dishes. It could be, Asian dishes, whatever you would use miso, or even things that you wouldn't even use miso, just something that you need it to be nice and savory. Taste it, play with it, fill it out, see where you like it, and check it out. This is an organic chickpea miso. Like I said, technically, we don't do ferments on the electric diet like kombucha. We don't do apple cider vinegars. We don't do even red wine, and all these things are actually not good for us, especially not for melanated people, indigenous people. Any of the rotten food culture, like, the cheeses and the molded cheeses and the wines and things that are sitting up for years and years and years. It's just yeast and starch and sugar and mold and fungus. That does not work for us. Okay, we need things that are phototropic, once again, things that are electrical, things that have been grown in the sun. So I don't get into ferments, and someone asked that question yesterday, so I'll answer that now. No ACV, no kombucha, no nutritional yeast, none, no vinegars, none of that stuff. So we try to keep away all ferments. But if there is a half a teaspoon that I may use in a dish every blue moon, it would be chickpea miso. I'm not an extremist, but to some people, this is an extreme diet. So, all right. But for flavor, now, that brings me to, we'll wait on these sea vegetables just a little bit. I did not show you guys some of your noodle options. I did show you the udon, but you can also get the elbow macaroni during Thanksgiving, or during, that macaroni salad during barbecues or picnics. There's spiral spelt noodles and kamut noodles. There is these nice macaroni ones. So again, this is Nature's Legacy. You can order these right from their website, natureslegacy.com, or you can find them online or in your local health food store as well. So you can have macaroni. Get you some pine nut cheese, some Brazil nut cheese, and we can make it happen. All right. So, Olive.
I just want to slide in a little bit. It's 10 o'clock, and we value your time and you sharing with us. So I'm going to give us like 5 more minutes or so for you, and then we'll go ahead and end the webinar. Okay.
Okay. So yeah, we're down to just maybe the last very few items here in my arsenal. But olives, very, very good for the heart. If anybody here is suffering with cardiovascular issues, black olives are wonderful. These are organic black olives in glass, preferably. Throw them in your salads. Make bruschetta. Roast them up with dishes. They're just phenomenal. Find ways to get them in. Make dip out of them. Really, really wonderful. Great for cardiovascular disease. Great for the blood. And somebody was asking me about spirulina supplements and things like that. I wanted to show you the chlorella that I'm currently using. Super important. This is Sun Potion chlorella. As you can see, it is USDA certified organic, and there's no other ingredient here. A lot of chlorella has hidden ingredients, mostly corn and soy. Mostly corn and soy. So you want to be mindful that when you're getting off the spirulina, that you're not jumping into some GMO soy and corn with your chlorella. So this one, Blue Glass, love it, organic, and you can find this product online or in your local health food store or online at, I believe this is sunpotion.com. Sunpotion.com. Chlorella is phenomenal. Again, that electricity, that chlorophyll, and it is an algae, a true algae. So for those of you suffering with thyroid issues, hypothyroid, any parathyroid issue, this is wonderful. Wonderful. And that brings me to seaweed. One of my favorites here is Aramay. But we've also got some seaweed snacks. I always throw these in the basket, have these in the car. My son Tyler's love to eat on this as opposed to chips. For those of you who are going to work and need some salty and nice and crunchy to snack on, get you some seaweed chips. You know, it's much better than the alternative, right? But I love soaking my seaweed in just a little water. This fluffs right up, and it's got a beautiful texture. Not too fishy, but it's just a nice texture. Goes great with just about anything. You can just throw that in soups and stews, throw that in on top of salads. Just get it in. Get it in either any way that you can. All right. So I've got an assortment, and I'll just pull the whole assortment out so you guys can see. This is how I like to store my greens. I usually just put half of this, fill it with water halfway, okay, and put it in the fridge just like that, bam. And that way the roots are still getting some water and they're getting some air. You do not want to store your fruits, veggies, and produce in plastics in your fridge. You want to let them breathe. Let everything breathe. Almost everything in my house is sitting out. So almost everything, with the exception of like berries and greens and condiments. So here we have our chard. This is chard. We've got some collard. This little bumpy baby, my favorite, is dinosaur kale. We also have some dill, some cilantro. We've got our chives in here as well. All right. So an assortment of greens here. Super important. Can you imagine all this goes in here? Very important. Purple cabbage, phenomenal. Melons, very, very important. I've got my seeded melon here. I've got some cantaloupe here, but also honeydew melon is phenomenal. Again, hydration. Blend these up, add some ginger, add some lime, add some ice, add some apple juice, add some fruits. Make it good, make it work. I don't crave melons, but I get them in. No matter what, I'm going to blend them up into a smoothie, make a nice slushy, and put some basil, make a basil slushy, put some soursop in there, some frozen soursop, whatever it takes to make it good for you. Get creative and just get it in. Just get it in. All right, really, really wonderful, especially for women suffering with reproductive disorder. Okay, so for those of you who are looking to keep some weight on you, because I know this is one of the main questions I get as well, is you're trying to keep your fat up, avocados, your coconut flesh, your oils, your hemp seeds, your chickpeas, your lentils, your spelt bread, your spelt noodles, your spelt wraps and things like that, your Brazil nuts, your walnuts, your pine nuts, and we've got some of those here as well. I'm sure you guys are familiar with pine nuts, right? Awesome. Can be a little pricey. Buy them in bulk, all right? Just if you're looking to keep your weight up. But remember, this diet is about first cleansing, so you may lose weight fairly quickly here. And that's usually what happens. You lose weight fairly quickly, and then your body starts to balance out. So you're not losing the booty, you're not losing the arms, you're losing waist. You're losing waist. So be patient with yourself, everyone, in this process. As you're cleansing, when you're eating this way, your body is cleansing and healing all at the same time. It's like a food cleanse, okay? So a lot of the mothers are saying, oh, what about my breast milk? You know, am I switching my diet in the middle of breastfeeding or while being pregnant, and can this be harmful to my baby? You got to think about it. Your next Subway sandwich is the most harmful thing that you can do to your baby, not your next bowl of greens or your next banana date smoothie or your next watermelon. This is actually the time where you should eat your very, very, very best, okay? So don't become afraid that you adding these amazing, you know, chlorellas and greens and fruits and seeds and grains into your diet. This is not going to put you in a situation where you are giving some toxicity to your child. You are going in direct alignment with nature and with what has that perfect chemical affinity with your body. So going towards nature is always the best decision, period, okay? So any fears, I'm getting a lot of questions about mothers breastfeeding and being pregnant. This is the best thing you could ever do, and the most responsible decision you could ever make is to go ahead and start now feeding yourself healthy, because you are programming your child with your milk and with your nutrition in your body. You're programming their desires for foods as well, right from birth, and you are programming also their health condition. So keep that in mind. You don't want them to have a predisposition to bad foods. All right, so with that being said, it is 10 after the hour. I love you guys more than you can imagine, and I'm so grateful, more than you know, that you have decided to take the plunge into this electric light switch. There's so many things that I could share with you. We could probably do a whole another 30 modules just on the electric light switch alone. But I don't want to overwhelm you guys. I hope I've given you lots of good things. I know you guys are ready for more recipes. You're ready to see some cooking. So I have recorded several videos that I want to share with you guys so you can watch me cook and you can start cooking with me. So I think we've got some dessert, we've got some breakfast, we've got some lunch. So I want you guys to enjoy these videos. Some of them are already up on YouTube, but we'll make sure that we send them directly to you as well. And as I'm cooking cooking some more videos and stuff, I'll make sure that my team gets them to you. And I don't know, maybe we'll do this for round 2, because I got a lot more to share. So thank you guys, and I got all your questions from yesterday. So I'm actually going to go ahead and do a live recorded video that we'll send to you guys, that you can see those questions getting answered. I'm actually super anxious to answer those questions. So I think we are done here. Charlene, want to take another question, or are we going to get out of here?
I think that we can go from here. It seems like you've answered everyone's questions. Guys, we thank you. We will get that substitution list to you as well. And if you have not joined the Fresh Tribe, this would be a good time to join the Fresh Tribe. You can go to thefreshtribe.com and sign up, and you can join the group where you will get those videos. You will get time with Chef as well, because she pops in and does live videos, and you'll get recipes first. And I know a lot of people were asking about recipes. This would be, the Fresh Tribe is where you would get these things. So we thank you all for coming out tonight, and we will see you next time. Have a great night, everyone.